Modern gaming doesn't feel magical anymore. They feel more like assignments. From battle passes to daily challenges to skill trees that look more like tax forms. So I did what we all do. I opened up Steam and scrolled past roughly 400 games. Whoa, okay, not those ones. But somehow I ended up staring at the same block game from 2011, and then it hit me. Why do we never actually quit Sandbox games? Minecraft, Terraria, Roblox, and more recently Core Keeper, I've played these games to nauseam. I mean, we've all had the famous 2-week Minecraft phase, but what is it that keeps bringing us back? But then I realized it's not just one thing. It's an explosion of nostalgia mixed with perfect game design that turns these simple block placing games into memorable experiences that has outlived anything else I've ever consumed. I don't think Sandbox games succeed because they're bigger. I think it's because modern games forgot how to feel freeing. Now enough lollygagging. Time to get serious. Clear progression with the ability to ignore it. Something that every one of these games has in common is a clear overarching goal that drives exploration and grinding. Typically, it's the next tool upgrade or big boss you gotta fight to unlock new content. But what really sets these games apart is the ability to completely ignore that goal and do whatever the hell you want whenever you want. You want to spend an hour going on a side quest to get the components for a cookie? Go right ahead. You want to make whatever this is? I think we can do a little bit better than that. And the most fantastic part is, if you do follow that progression, it doesn't kill creativity, it just makes getting there easier. For example, you load into a brand new world, you find a perfect spot, and you want to build a giant castle or demolish a huge mountain. Now, you can do it with your fists if you want, but it'd be a lot faster and less psychotic if you just went out and got better tools first. But the fact that you can do it immediately is what makes it so alluring. And you know what else is alluring? Subscribing to Just Parry, statistically proven to increase your attractiveness level 12%. But if you don't want to do that, I guess that's cool too. Okay, I can see your finger hovering. We're going back to the video right now. Now, if you paid any attention to the intro, you'll probably notice I mentioned Core Keeper. Core Keeper is an indie game that is a relatively new entry into the genre. And I only single it out because it does not fully fit the description that I gave, but it does get very close. Stick with me, this is important to the thesis, I promise. At first glance, it clearly takes inspiration from Terraria with its many bosses, and Minecraft with its, blocks? But honestly, its biggest influence feels more like Stardew Valley. And listen, Stardew is a fantastic game that will probably get its own video at some point. But its main limitation to both of these games is that it has a ceiling to your creativity. Sure, you can make your place look beautiful and personalize it to your heart's content, but you're probably not going to make anything grand enough to make you want to sprint to your computer and post it online. And this leads to players going straight for the goal, beating the game, and then never opening the same world again. And that, at least in Core Keeper, makes the game a less memorable experience. And let me be clear, this isn't me shitting on the game. I actually really enjoyed my playthrough of Core Keeper. However, it lacks that infinite creativity that makes a game endlessly replayable. Now, one thing that really lets people play a game forever, and our next topic, is a sense of community. Now, I talked about this in my friend slot video, but people crave a third place to exist. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go watch this video. So when there's a sandbox game with endless potential that all of your friends and family know about, it makes it a lot easier to start a playthrough, even if it is just the 2-week phase that everybody jokes about. And I personally have made so many friends through games like Minecraft, people that I've kept in touch with over the years that some of them might even be watching this video. And these games showed me that relationships I built in gaming didn't have to stay in the digital world. Put simply, playing with other people just makes you want to play so much more and build cooler shit. I cannot put into words how many late nights that I had building a huge grotto or a giant ship to impress the whole server. And that right there, funnily enough, leads into our next part of this section, the genuinely insane shit that community creates. Now I, like any degenerate, was scrolling on my For You page and came across some insane feats of imagination. I mean, have you seen what people are doing on Build-A-Boat on Roblox? This random Roblox game was made with the sole purpose of constructing a shoddy vessel in the hopes that you can make it to the end of the course and hopefully get some treasure out of it. Instead, the community has taken it upon themselves to not even play the game anymore, and rather use what is at first glance a very simple building menu to make genuine and absurd works of art. I mean, the next Picasso is just casually hanging around in Roblox servers and nobody seems to care. This only lends credence to the idea when you give people the ability to be fully free and have a community for them to compare themselves to, that they're going to raise the bar as fast and insanely as humanly possible. These games don't just connect us, they give us a constant mix of comparison or maybe inspiration that makes us want to build bigger and better. I mean, for God's sakes, in every one of these games, when you give people freedom, they make a computer inside the game they're playing so that they can either talk to each other or play the game inside the game that they're already playing. And genuinely, the only downside to that is me fearing that I am in the Matrix more and more every time I see one of those videos. But for those of us who aren't the 1% of these games creating insane shit, it creates an interesting phenomenon where everything we do feels bigger in our memory. You probably have personally noticed that once you finish a build and walk away, it feels monumental and completely unmatched. But maybe when you revisit it in a year or so, you realize it's a crude bunch of buildings that you told all your friends with a giant city landscape. And even if that is a little bit embarrassing because you've hyped it up so much, it kind of almost feels better, because it gives you the opportunity to remember who you were when you built it. And that right there is called rosy retrospection. The tendency to remember things is more important than they actually were. And people do this constantly. Because when we think back to the giant ship we created or mountain that we flattened, it gives us a sense of pride that pushes us forward in our daily life. And you're probably asking yourself, doesn't this just explain nostalgia? Well, according to the first search on Google that I did, no, it does not. I don't know, they seem kind of the same to me, but I'm not a psychologist. But what I'm trying to say is when you reload these old worlds, it's like opening a time capsule you didn't know you buried. Every shitty house or unfinished tunnel is just proof that another version of you existed, and if you look hard enough, it still does. And to really understand and dig a little deeper, we have to realize that it is human nature to want to create. Making something that lasts rather than experiencing something fleeting is the backbone of these games and their longevity. I love making stuff. I mean, I'm making a video right now. I physically built things in the past, and every day it's my goal to make someone smile. God, that last part was cheesy. Cut that. But because we create things in these games, it sticks with us longer and genuinely improves upon our mood. I've played hundreds of games in my life, but here's the thing. You don't remember the boss you beat in 2016, but you remember the house you built with your friends. Now, this video might seem a little out of left field. I mean, if you look at the rest of my catalog, you'll see me ranting or raving about a variety of things. But recently, the world has just been a lot. There's always something grabbing for our attention or new to be angry about, and most of it is way bigger than the technicalities of some game or movie. And sometimes it's nice to just sit back, relax, and build a house for the 100th time. It really is as simple as that. But hey, that's just me, and I'm no psychologist. These games really do have a special place in my heart, so it only felt right to make a whole video about them. If you love these games or just want to say hi, come leave a comment. Also, if you like this video, maybe like it, I don't know. Anyway, that's all for me. Bye now.